All right, welcome back. It is our losers match for tonight, so it is our second to last match of the evening. We do have a Protoss versus Zerg lined up for you, and we're going to go ahead and get right on to these player introductions, spawning in the bottom right corner. He is your yellow Zerg player, hailing from sunny Spain. He is CapitanMartu.
And his opponent will be spawning up in the top left-hand corner, Rakelan Waste, spawning in as the green Protoss, representing himself. He is Lucien.
So we already have a bit of a tell coming on. We have an early spawning pool as opposed to hatch, and a little bit of hatch blockage. Unfortunately, hatch blue balls coming from CapitanMartu, not able to put on his hatch because of a pesky little probe there.
Yeah, I kind of like spawning pool for hatch against Protoss generally. It's just a little bit safer, and those tricksy Protosses, you know how they are. They're always sneaking cannons where they shouldn't be, and
I don't know. After last series, I just don't know anymore about who's supposed to. I thought, I always thought Terrans were an honorable people, and then after watching what Canary did to that poor Protoss, I just don't know anymore.
CapitanMartu, Lucien's war at the top of that ramp is very, very holy.
It's suspect, isn't it?
It's probably holier than the Pope. It's got like 3 holes in it. I reckon the Pope's only got about 2 holes in it.
If you were a Mongolian, you would like that wall.
Yeah.
Are we gonna see a proxy hatch, or is he just denying? He's just denying. Okay.
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah,
he's saving up minerals though. He could throw down a proxy hatch.
We're gonna find out in like 5 minerals. No, he's gonna
like he's not. Yeah, no, he's sending a drone over to his third. He's gonna put down a 3 hatch, which is nice. I like it. Just the early pool for safety, and then you go 3 hatches because you only YOLO once.
You only YOLO once. I couldn't have said it any better myself. But as we do see that the holy wall for Lucien, it's letting those drones slip in. CapitanMartu's drones and overlords are getting in a position essentially to get as much visual data as he can surmise from the early parts of the game. We do have this probe just chilling here, this Tyrannus probe, doing nothing. As I like to say, he's the one who's just like, I'm just going to go over here. Boss said I got some pylons to make, so I'm just going to make a pylon here, just kind of chill. He's got the easy part of the Protoss life, signed up for a nice lucrative vacation, and he's got his he's got his pension and everything lined up for him. He's just making probes in random parts of the map, or pylons rather.
Yeah, and this pylon is probably going to be used to warp in some DTs, because we're seeing that D2 shrine be built up, and where is it? It's in the back,
right next to the. Yeah, he's not hiding it. So CapitanMartu is going to get in here. Yeah, he's going to scan it.
Yeah,
he's got it.
He's selected it. He knows what's up. He's going to throw down a roach run. He needs to have some spores start building pretty soon, because spine crawlers can't detect. Some zealots are warping in. The next round of warp in is going to be DTs, and there's the spore crawlers coming down, and that's what he really needs to hold this off. But the zealots, actually, he doesn't really have that much to combat them.
Yeah, 3 queens though, and maybe a ling or 2. The lings will go down instantly. Spine crawler about to finish up, and of course now his roach warren is up, and he's going to bring his queens back. 1 queen does get surrounded. That's terrible. You never want to lose that this early on in the game. Pinned against a Vespene gas geyser, and so that's not necessarily the best position that you want.
Yeah, and his other queen's going to go down as well, which leaves just his spine crawlers. The spore crawler's finished, but there it is. And then the thing.
Those DTs
oh my
are
god,
go
4 DTs are just going like one-shot spines.
Jesus, this is absolutely DT rush time. He needs to go ahead and get rid of the spore crawler because
he can just move out of its range.
Yeah, and if the roaches are forced to do that, they're going to go down easily. So now he's going to go ahead and target that spore crawler, it seems like that. But the damage that he's going to get done is just going to be almost enough anyway. This is a really bad position. The DTs are going to start going to work. The spore crawler's down. Now there's nothing to see these things. And they're going to start going to work on roaches and, of course, targeting the hatchery. And this is a really, really terrible position for CapitanMartu. And really, where does he go from here?
There's practically no way he can go. He's got one spore left in the main. DTs are heading towards that. The roaches are protecting it for. Now the DTs are fighting drones, and the Zealots are fighting drones, and I imagine they're pretty happy to be doing that. One probably goes down as well.
You told me I was going to be fighting roaches. I'm okay with fighting drones. Like, that's not a big deal to me.
This is cool with me. There's one roach left. That's going to go down. The drones are fighting as well. And Lucien can just back off and get a better position. Keep on warping in units. There's 13 drones to 24 probes, 10 army supply for CapitanMartu, and he's in a really, really bad position here. There's a DT he's about to kill the hatchery in the natural, and he's moving in for what could be the final time up in the main. All the drones are going to get taken down. There's one roach left. CapitanMartu says GG. Back and on Overgrowth, we have our first player spawning up in the top right-hand corner. Here's our green Protoss. He is Lucien.
Yeah, taking game one pretty handedly with the the DT Zealot rush on Akalon Wastes, but his opponent hoping to get some retribution, get some revenge. And not getting cannon rushed right now, at least for the time being. He is repping that red, hailing from sunny Spain, playing at 7:30 in the morning. Your red Zerg player, CapitanMartu.
Yeah, he has played all through the night. You do not get more passion than that, and that's pretty impressive. Is Lucian's Nexus misplaced? Is that just me?
It looks a little off center. I don't,
because it should be like the base of it should be right over that
right
circle,
over the top
right?
thing. Yeah, that's a really good call. That's gonna pay. It's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be an actual thing, because a little bit of distance here and there. Of course, the closer minerals. This is something that not a lot of people talk about a lot. The closer minerals. That's how people you see them sometimes APM spamming if you're ever watching streams, and they're also putting workers on the closer mineral patches. They're doubling up on the closest mineral patches. So it is that little bit of a difference when it comes down to it. And of course, if you misplace a building like an hatchery or nexus, it's going to make that much of a difference because your probes, workers, what have you, are going to take that much longer taking minerals to and from the patches. So it's just a little bit of a mistake from Lucien, and we'll see how much it actually pays off.
Yeah, it's it's going to scale way later into the game as well, because he's going to need actually more like actually 24 workers to saturate that rather than the 16 that you actually need to get optimal saturation.
Right.
So that means everything's going to be it's like the anti-gold base. Like a gold base actually provides the same income as a normal base, but you only need about 10, 12 workers to saturate it rather than 16, so you get the income a little faster. But yeah, it's like the opposite. You need more workers, not less. And that's not going to be good for Lucien. CapitanMartu, on the other hand, is getting his roach run up. I think getting that before a third base sort of signifies to me that he's either looking to be aggressive or defensive. Like, it depends how many of these roaches he makes, whether he starts pumping out 5 roaches, 6 roaches. I think he's going to march these across the map and start attacking with them.
Yeah, and I think you made you brought up a good point, actually. You said whether he's going to be aggressive or defensive, one and the same depending on what your opponent does, right? Yeah. Because if you're going to go ahead and make that many roaches, sometimes you make it too much, and if you don't go do anything, well, suddenly my defensive roaches are going to start saying hello and become offensive roaches. The only difference is what you do with them, really.
Yeah, and generally just making roaches signifies aggression, because if not, you'd be making roaches like now when you see the zealots moving across the map, if you were just getting that roach run for defense. But yeah, he's saving up the roaches. He wants it to be a bit of a surprise. Speed's done for these lings as well, and Lucien, I think, is trying to put on some aggression towards CapitanMartu's third base, but there's a big problem that Lucien's going to run into when he tries to put aggression onto CapitanMartu's third base, and that's
which
that
is there
not
isn't
there.
a third base.
Yeah.
So CapitanMartu's going to march across with a nice little force of roaches, and he's going up against a forged fast expand, of course. So he's got a nice little wall there. But if those roaches can pick off the 2 pylons, which they can kind of funnel in and get on top of it, depowering those units, now all of those gateways are morphing into warp gates. And reinforcements might be really quick here. Now they're on the other side of the map. The roaches are going to hit sooner, aren't they? If CapitanMartu actually pushes on this.
Yeah, they are. They are. Actually, all the units are moving back across the map for Lucien. So after warping in at his proxy pylon, he now wants them home.
All the
in
links
wall.
are getting through.
All the links get in.
Through.
They're getting into them.
Actually.
Yeah, they're getting into the middle line. The roaches can just get through. They're going to focus down the cybercore. When the cybercore's gone, there's going to be no more stalkers to be warped in. It's going to just be zealots. And
that's huge.
That is really, really big. The roaches are so good on zealots, and being able to kite them, they're just good on zealots because ranged units are good on melee units as a rule. The natural has been absolutely annihilated. Lucien's decided that counterattack or coming back to defend is a lost cause, and he's going to try and counterattack, but CapitanMartu, I think, just has more. It is going to be a base trade. And I think this is something that favors CapitanMartu. Although Lucien does have that probe out on the map, he doesn't have enough minerals to build anything, but he has a pylon that CapitanMartu is going to have to deal with. There's all the buildings for Lucien to kill are in one nice, easy location, CapitanMartu's main base, whereas CapitanMartu will have to march back across the map. He should probably already be sending some lings.
This is the final match. If CapitanMartu loses, this is his final match. So he's on his lifeline. He's going to go for it. He's going to take out these 3 gates. It's looking like he's going to have to cycle across and come back and hit that pylon. If he doesn't get the pylon, of course he sees it now that the base isn't rebuilt. If he doesn't get that pylon before all of his shit goes down, he loses. Fortunately so, he's got a hatchery. He's got a spawning pool. He's got a reactor, or like an extractor rather. It's not a reactor. That's not even a refinery. But you know what? He's going to be able to come across. He sees the pylon. This is on his tournament life, and CapitanMartu is going to be able to base trade to victory. All that stands in his way is a couple of stalkers, some zealots, and they're going to get surrounded. The lings want it. The zealots don't want it as badly as the lings do. Down go all the stalkers. That pylon's going to get surrounded, and once it's gone, so too is the game. And GG is called. He knows the eventuality that is coming.
No blacks allowed? Yeah, sounds pretty racist to me.
Well, welcome back. Game 3. It's going to be Ohana to finish out this Protest Berserk series. We'll go right into the player introduction, spotting in the bottom right. He is your green Protoss player. Represent nobody but himself. Tied up 1-1. Game 3. Lucien.
And up in the top left-hand corner, his opponent, needing this game to advance onwards, his tournament life on the line. It is the Red Zerg, CapitanMartu.
Dude, you nailed it with that accent.
El Capitan.
Saber, are we getting some music in here? No, we're not doing a little... Okay, we already did that nonsense?
I think it was before the...
We did it? Oh, we did it? Okay, I didn't notice it. I missed the music. But, yeah, rocking it with the accent. He is of course, playing from Spain. Rocking it at like 8 o'clock in the morning, even later, or earlier, rather, depending on your perspective, than the others who are, nice. I'm on the east coast of the United States. Of course, Saber, the luckiest of us all, on the west coast. But it's shaping up to be a pretty standard opening from these two.
Yeah, all looking pretty ordinary. A far cry from the last 2 games we've seen. CapitanMartu went for a hatch into pool, into gas, and then Lucian's gone for a gateway expand. So it's looking suspiciously normal.
You say suspiciously, and I know that feeling because having just casted what I would consider one of the most innovative players I've seen at this level, Canary, I'm just not believing what my eyes are showing me. There's something. There's like we're missing it. The production tab is not seeing a Dark Shrine. There's a Dark Shrine somewhere, or there's one base Swarm host play. I don't believe it anymore.
Well, this looks like a pretty fast robotics facility to me. So
I was gonna say just as we start talking about that.
Yeah, and a Forge comes in. Ohana's pretty good for Immortal Sentry, so we could see that. It's no Cloud Kingdom, but I'd probably say it's the second best map in the Dream Pool for Immortal Sentry. So there's a distinct possibility we see that come out of Lucien.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that you're spot on with that, and I'm just gonna risk my casting credentials here and say that we're gonna see Immortal Sentry come out. It's looking pretty standard, like he's hitting a little bit of the timings. Of course, I think he went Gateway and Cybernetic Sword first before expansion, so he's not doing the parting 2-base right into the get-go. But he is researching weapons, of course. Still getting his probes. Zealot on the field. So, of course, what we're waiting on seeing is the Immortal is going to start getting chronoed out. He does have the Warp Prism, and of course, that is a part of things if you do the Immortal all-in because you want to be able to lift them up. So maybe getting the Warp Prism first, a little different. I haven't actually seen that before. Maybe you want to get some harassment done earlier. But everything else looking standard. We're going to look to see if Lucien adds on gateways, adds on those sorts of things. Meanwhile, CapitanMartu taking a third. Talk us through it, Zerg player.
Third base on Ohana is kind of risky because the minute CapitanMartu doesn't really have anything to break down these rocks. So the Immortal Sentry, even when it hits, is going to actually have an even easier time taking down this third base because the rocks mean you don't actually need to place force fields on this ramp. You just need to force field off the backline. We see the Immortals coming down, and fast layer is actually going to mean fast Hydralisks, or maybe fast Spire, but probably fast Hydralisks, which is going to be really good in holding off this Immortal Sentry because the Hydralisk was their extra range, shoot over the force fields much, much better than Roaches do. So that's looking pretty good for CapitanMartu, but the Immortal Sentry, but gates are coming down, so Immortal Sentry is only about 2 or 3 minutes away, so he's going to need to start throwing down his tech pretty soon if CapitanMartu wants to survive.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he's got a bit of a supply block. Of course, it's about to finish up as soon as those Overlords come out. But we do have the Warp Prism on the side of the map coming here at the third of CapitanMartu. It was about to be in Warp mode. Now it's back in Transport mode. Maybe a little indecisive from CapitanMartu whether he wants to go for it or not. Immortals are still getting warped in. And, of course, we have Creep Spread on the way for CapitanMartu as those Roaches are breaking down those rocks. Finally has the units to do that. So the Immortal Sentry all-in, not really that much of a thing anymore. He does have his units making his way, but he's just going to lose these units almost instantaneously. This is not enough to do it against. Of course, he's going to warp in a bunch of zealots.
No, it's not. It's this is the Nanoa 7-gate Immortal. Because he only got one gas. I should have spotted this. I know this.
There's no sentries.
This is zealots. There's no sentries.
Yeah.
It's just zealots and Immortals. And actually, it's really, really strong. It hits a lot earlier than the Immortal Sentry.
Zealots right on top of these Roaches, but the Roaches are putting out a lot of DPS, not really cutting back due to the time warp, but now the Protoss army, I think, is losing this, and it rightfully so starts to go home. Those Immortals need to get picked up, but the Warp Prism is in warp mode. It's not in transport mode right now, so the Mortals have to kite back until they are in the safety of that Warp Prism.
Yeah, but with the reinforcements coming in, the Roaches actually do have to retreat, running through, taking quite a lot of damage from that. And now the Warp Prism's in a much better mode to be able to micro these Immortals, and doesn't actually even need to, as they just sit there in the back, dishing out so much damage. And Lucien throwing these Zealots away actually kind of hurts, because one of the big strengths of these Protoss all-ins is just keeping your units alive, and you gradually build up more and more and more and more. And this is looking pretty scary for CapitanMartu now.
Oh, he's getting surrounded by the Lynx. He's taking the fight on Creep. He's not going to pick up that Immortal, and he loses it instantaneously at the start of the fight. But now the Immortals have the time to put out the DPS it needs. 6 kills on it thus far, warping in more Zealots. This third's looking pretty undefended at this point.
Oh yeah, there's so many Zealots on the field now. 20 Lings on the way, but against these Zealots have +1 as well. And +1 Zealots are so good on Lings, two-shotting them. They kill them in just under, quite a bit under 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 2.4 seconds. And the Roaches are going to take so much more damage from those Zealots as well. The Immortals,
Lings are coming in from the back, and they're going to get a little bit of a stride on Immortal. Immortal's going to go down, and that's actually a huge pickup for CapitanMartu. Literally, his tournament life is kind of on line for picking off that unit, but now he's getting in on top of the Zealots. He needs to micro those Roaches back, and he's on creep, so he has the ability to do that and split. Mothership's core, of course, not getting shot down because nothing really shoots up at this point. Queen is gone. Zealots are going to get picked up. Now he's warping it more, though, at this point. Where does CapitanMartu go? His little tournament life's on the line. He doesn't have enough units getting warped in. The production tab is all Lings at this point. You don't want to be making Lings to counter Zealots at this point in the game. He's going to have to pull drones as 4 Stalkers have just been warped in, and they're doing short work of whatever they want to shoot at right now.
Yeah, the drones are being slaughtered. CapitanMartu's reinforcements are starting to trickle in as he runs out of lava. He runs out of
supply.
He's 6 army supply, 25 drones, and this is it. It's just waiting for CapitanMartu to realize his natural's been broken. He's on 1 base.
My only friend.
Yeah. The Roach runs go down as well. He's trying to desperately build Spinecrawlers to defend this, but actually Lucien's just going to march straight up before the Spinecrawler's even halfway done. Few Roaches, but there's so many Stalkers out now. It's just way too much. Even with Lucien focusing down Overlords, he's still okay to win this fight.
Yeah, the Zealots taking a lot of soaking up damage from the Roaches, and of course putting out some DPS of their own. Stalkers don't trade too terribly against Roaches, and of course when the Zerg players having to pull those sacred drones, it's never good. GG is called. Lucien taking it